Okay, well, we gave everybody 3 minutes. If more people pour in, that's great. We will get them up to speed. But I want to start this call the way we start every single call, and that is with some wins. If anybody has some wins that they would like to share, I would love for you to unmute. So I'm the one who posts on our Facebook page, and I just got done typing out a win for Laura over here with Gold Standard Electric, because it sounds like we launched a Google review campaign for you guys, and over a weekend, you guys had 20 reviews come in. Is that true? That's incredible.
Yeah, we started the email campaign and we've been getting tons of reviews, and it's not even over yet, the campaign.
Oh, still counting.
I'm excited.
Yes, it's so nice to be able to see that, to be able to hear that feedback. And that's how we at Redmond Growth know that a client does good work, is when we run a Google review campaign and the reviews just start pouring in. That's clear evidence to us that like this client is not all talk. This client does phenomenal work because their customers are going out of their way to talk about it. So just want to give you guys a big round of applause for that.
Come on.
Yes. It's huge.
Well, I mean, I could get 20 reviews really quickly. Are we talking 5-star reviews though? I'm curious.
Yeah, they've been 5-star reviews.
Oh, come on, even better. That's what I'm talking about.
It's incredible. Any other wins? We celebrate all kinds of wins here, personal, work, you got kind of going back to the group call last week, you've got to celebrate the wins. Let's not go through life just, letting them pass us by. You got to celebrate the little things. So if anybody has a win they'd like to share, I'd love for you to unmute.
We got some decals on our vans this last week, so we were kind of unmarked before then, so it's kind of nice to have that done.
Yes, love that. We would love some photos of it. I don't know if you've already sent some to your coach, but we'd love to see it. And doesn't that make you feel just like a little bit more legitimate? Like, it's always a good feeling having that, new level. That's awesome. Any other wins before we get this show on the road here today?
Yeah, we continue to move in a positive direction. We had a second win. It was a gutter job. We're a painting company and gutters. And what I'm learning is I just feel like we're making progress every week, every day. We're doing a value statement now. We're going to have bids delivered by hand. So Travis has given us a lot of good insights. We're just, Rome wasn't built in a day. So we are definitely making progress. We had a ton of leads come in. So
yes.
I don't know, in 3 weeks, I think we're over 20 now. But, some of them are small jobs, but we're definitely having wins. And I'm feeling very positive about you guys in the process. We've had multiple marketing companies that were not telling us the truth. I've spent a ton of money in the past. So you guys, I just want you to know that you guys have been honest and sincere. That's huge in my book.
Sir, that just made my day. I'm sure it definitely made Travis's, but those, that means a lot to you. That, and I love the point that you made, like Rome's not built in a day. Sometimes when we're in the thick of it as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's hard to recognize the 1% progress you're making every day, because we're not in that big picture, that final goal yet. But you're so right. Like to get to that goal, it's just that 1% every day of improvement, of that implementing that new thing. And so can't wait to see where it takes you, Rob.
No, you guys, you guys deserve some kudos because I've been to a lot of companies and I was with Dr. Pepper for 22 years. I know marketing and everyone's just not honest. It's terrible what's out there. So I mean that you guys deserve some kudos. I've been very impressed and I'll leave it at that. But just for anyone else on the call, these guys have been outstanding in my book and it's going to happen. So just FYI.
Thanks,
Bryce is a former Pepsi guy. Are they the same or are they like enemies? What's the status there?
I was Pepsi 6 years, Bryce. 6 years. but many moons ago, like 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, we were
Oh.
not there at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I
We-
was like, you probably know the same people. Let's establish some connections here. I was gonna say, Rob, the week you don't say you're feeling good about us is the week I'm gonna get really concerned and think Travis really messed something up. So, no, I appreciate the positive words. Absolutely, thank
No,
you
I
so
mean-
much.
Yeah, I've been 4 weeks now, and we had a lot of bumps, but I know it takes time. But what I like is you guys are honest, and that's the most important thing to me. So thank you again.
Yeah, I would argue that's the most important
Hey,
thing
what's
in
up?
pretty
Can you
much
guys
any
hear us?
area.
Can you
Go
hear me?
ahead.
Oh yeah, we can hear you,
Yes,
Dante.
we can. Tell us.
All right, wonderful. So I do have a win. We have a win. It was like about 2 weeks ago. We had a call of a residential customer at an apartment complex, and so I went and serviced. They just needed a sectional removed. And on the way out, I've never been to this complex before, so I decided to just stop on into the leasing office to see who was in there, and to see if they needed any help at all. And sure enough, I spoke with the manager there. They had a national company. I'm not going to say who, but they had a national company who was their preferred vendor for that location. But they just don't show up enough. And when they do show up, they're just not really doing an amazing job. So it was an opportunity for me to introduce myself, my company, our services. And she was very delighted, very happy. So we got onboarded, I think, the next week, went through all the processes, sent in all the pertinent documents, of course. And so it's a pretty big company. So I'm super excited. We haven't done any work for them just yet, but we're actually heading that way now just to check in and see what they need. So that was amazing.
huge.
So I was
Yes.
yeah.
Those
another
connections
one,
can
another
turn
one.
into work so quick.
Come on, yeah.
I was gonna say, and another one too. So like last year, 2 years ago, we had a client, and we just haven't received any work orders from them for a while, and I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. I thought maybe they found someone else to work with, but I was going through some old emails, and I saw that what it was, they actually needed a COI back in April 2022, and my wife was working with me at the time, and so she, unfortunately, but she accidentally sent them the wrong document. She sent a W-9 instead of a COI, and they requested a COI again, and I guess the email went unnoticed. So we haven't received any work from them in over a year. But I was going through the emails, and I realized that's what had happened. So I sent all the updated documents for the workers' comp, the general liability, everything, a new W-9. And then I went there like 2 days later just to speak with her and apologize and tell her what was going on. And again, they were so excited that I came through and we gave them all the right documents. And now we're back in. So anyway, the wins this week, 2 major companies back on the board.
Yes.
2 major,
Awesome.
Yes.
right.
I think that
It's
is
pretty awesome.
that is a
Due
great word
diligence.
of advice for anybody who is not currently nurturing their customer database. If you have not sent a newsletter, if you have not reached out to them, if you are not staying in front of them, you have so much opportunity that you are just wasting. So get with your coach, especially as we get into these, we're getting towards the end of the summer, school's starting back up, holiday on us. We know it can be kind of a wonky time. That is a great opportunity to really nurture that customer database and make something happen from it. So that is a great win and a great word of advice for everybody else. So today, let's get this show on the road here. Today, we're going to be talking about profit first. Now, I don't want to see anybody leave here. If you're implementing profit first, that is okay. This call is also for you. No matter where you are at in your profit first journey, whether this is the first time you've ever heard about profit first, or if it's something that you've been implementing for years, we're going to cover what profit first is, how to get the most out of it, and then if you're currently implementing it, what do we want to be paying attention to? It's not a set it and forget it type of activity. And so this is a great call no matter where you're at in your profit first journey or no matter where you're at with your profitability. This is a great call. So just kind of like a show of hands, I would love to know, just with our group that we have here, is there anybody here who is implementing Profit First? Could I get kind of a show of hands? I see Ray. I know Ray does. I think there's a few others that we are in the process of it, but it seems like a lot of you, this is going to be a newer thing, which is awesome. This is a great call for you to be on. We are so passionate here about Profit First that all of the coaches are actually Profit First professionals. We've been through the course, we got the certifications. And so we are a coaching program that also believes in having a coach. So we got Profit First certified as well. So let's just kind of start with just a introduction to Profit First. What is Profit First? Why should I care about it? So this guy here, this is Mike Michalowicz. He is the author of the book Profit First. You might be thinking this guy doesn't look like a contractor, or this guy, maybe he was born into money, and he was not born into money. By 35, he had founded and sold 2 multi-million-dollar companies. So worked really hard, had a lot of success by 35. And then he proceeded to lose it all, to lose all of that money and go bankrupt. Out of that, he has developed Profit First. He kind of threw away this principle of I'm just going to be profitable at some point. And he really decided, no, I'm going to be profitable from the beginning, and I'm going to make sure that that happens. I'm not going to make profit something that's in the future. That's a bad business model. That's the way that I lost this money. And then today he leads 2 multi-million-dollar ventures. And so very successful man. He has a lot of great books. If you haven't read Profit First, we definitely encourage it. At least read the first 8 chapters. Those are really foundational, but the whole book's not going to hurt you either. And it's actually decently entertaining. I'm somebody who loathes business books, and this one does not suck. And so, in fact, when we have clients read it, usually the response I get is this book written for me? Like, he is telling my story. He is telling my struggles. And so that is where we get this Profit First principle and this method from. Kind of the main theme behind Profit First is profit is not an event. It's not some goal in the future. It's not some one-time thing. It's not some big break. Profit is not an event. Profit is a habit. And so profit does not just happen. I can promise you right now, I've been in growth for 5 years. There is no amount of revenue that's going to suddenly make you profitable. Profit does not just happen. It is habits. It is these small little changes that cause you to be profitable. And then if we continue to do things the way we've always done them, if you continue to price the way you've always priced, if you continue to sell yourself short, if you continue to manage jobs the way you've always, or continue to just pay for change orders because you don't want to upset the customer. If you continue to do things the way you've always done them, expecting to just one day be profitable when you're currently not, is not realistic. We've got to do something different if we're going to want to get different results. Okay, so let's talk about some core Profit First principles. I found this graphic and I thought it was a really good example because kind of boil Profit First down to the most basic description. This is it. When we are taught accounting, we are taught this method here. Sales minus expenses equals profit. Who here, that's like, yeah, duh. Yeah, that's what we're told. That's what we're told. That's how we've always been taught. The Profit First formula flips that around, where it's sales minus profit equals your expenses. Now, that doesn't mean that you're just going to go out today and you're going to say, okay, I'm just going to take 20% right off my revenue, and that's my profit. And then whatever's left over, I'm going to use to pay my bills. And if I don't have enough, I don't have enough. That's not what we're saying here. What we're saying is that when profit comes last, profit is an afterthought. most of the time when I ask a client what their current cash flow management system looks like or their current accounting, the answer is typically, Nicole, the money goes in the account and the money comes out of the account. Who here feels that on a real level? Yes, I see Leaf, I see hands. You know, the money comes in the account and the money comes out. And whatever's left over is left over. That's what I know. And again, that is traditionally what we're taught. That's not wrong. It's just not useful. It's not successful. This method is much more successful. We're prioritizing profit, even if we're starting small. We are making sure that from day one, we are profitable. Profit First also solves that problem of the money comes in the account and the money comes out, and you never really know where your money is going. With Profit First on a week-by-week basis, you're going to have a very good idea of where your money is going in regards to cost of goods sold, your overhead, your tax, your profit, what you're paying yourself. And then it's time for your business to start rewarding you. If you are just living off of whatever's left over, or if you're not paying yourself at all, which we've encountered time and time again, your business is meant to serve you. And it is going to feel very draining. It is going to be a miserable experience unless you formulate it to where it is serving you. The business is meant to serve you. We had a great group call last week where we kind of talked about this principle. And so if you're needing some extra motivation on that topic, I would love for you to go back and listen to that. We've got it in our call recordings. And then Profit First also provides confidence when making financial decisions, and it easily identifies issues before they become problems. What I mean by that is if you have an emergency fund account that you are putting money into, that you're setting money aside in, and then you need to go buy a truck or a truck breaks down and you need to fix it, you can feel very confident in making that financial decision because you have the money set aside for it. Same thing with taxes. Taxes happen every year. I don't know if you guys know that. It's never fun, not enjoyable, but it's going to happen every single year. That is a guarantee. Death and taxes are the two guarantees we have here in life. So let's be prepared for it. In fact, I would love it if you had some money left over. If you set money aside for taxes and at the end of the year, you've got money left over in that account, or you can go do whatever the heck you want with it. One of my clients, Allie Core Plumbing, he's been consistently implementing Profit First for many years now. And one of the first years that he implemented Profit First and paid taxes, and then he had $30,000 left over in his tax account. So what he went and did is he got to replace the car that he's been driving for 10 years. And so he was able to get himself a new car, paying cash, debt-free, and he didn't have to worry about taxes. What a beautiful thing. The other benefit to Profit First is that it easily identifies issues before they become problems. If we are always paying attention to our percentages, then we're going to be able to very quickly see if all of a sudden the profit dips or the cash flow doesn't feel as nice. We're going to be able to immediately identify where the problem is. Is it that our cost of goods sold is higher than it used to be? Is it that my overhead is a little bit higher? Did I have some extra expenses that I wasn't prepared for that I had to pay? We're going to be able to identify those issues and make adjustments, and so that it doesn't become a big problem.
Yeah, what I'll add to that, Nicole, real quick, is that it's not just looking at percentages and knowing, it's not looking at a bunch of spreadsheets and knowing, it's looking at your bank accounts and being able to see what's tighter than it normally is. The stuff you're already doing, but it's more specific, so it's easier to identify. And you're not playing catch up so much as you're seeing before this gets so bad that in my one bank account, I have no more money left. You're going to see that strain whenever it's just affecting one account, not the whole business. That's the big piece here.
Absolutely. You're not waiting till the end of the month when you look at your profit and loss statement and saying, oh crap, this is not good. You're able to see that on a week by week or even day by day basis. So you're able to solve it quickly. There's no more guessing. There's no more mystery. And you're working damn hard. We don't want you to get to the end of the month or the end of the year and think, crap, I was not profitable. Profit First is going to fix it for you. And then every business can benefit from this regardless of your current profitability, regardless of your current revenue. I have so many clients that are consistently implementing Profit First that tell me, Nicole, I wish I would have done this from the beginning. This would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of stress, and it would put me heads and tails from where I am right now, 20 years in or 15 years in. Regardless of if you're currently profitable or if you're not profitable or if you're brand spanking new, Profit First is going to be able to serve you. Now, let's talk about kind of the principle. You might, at this point, you might be a little bit confused. You're like, Nicole, you're talking about accounts. How does this thing work? Is this a software? What the heck is this? This is replace my bookkeeper. This is not a software. This does not replace your bookkeeper. Sometimes when people talk numbers, we get a little intimidated, but this system is simple. I promise. That's what it was built, is to be simple. So without Profit First, this is what your bank account looks like. We're going to talk about the plate principle. So money goes in the account, money comes out. That's without Profit First. You know, then whatever's left over is what's left over. And you're paying all of your bills out of this. You're paying yourself out of this. You're putting profit into this, all one account. The Profit First principle is that you have your main account that all the money goes into, and you might pay your cost of goods sold out of that. So like your labor, your subs, and your materials. But your whatever is left over, you're going to distribute into these other accounts. So you're going to be moving that money into a certain percentage into profit, a certain percentage into owner's pay, a percentage into a certain percentage into operating expenses. Now, why do we have plates as examples here? Is because if you dedicate as that certain percentage to those expenses, that's the money that you have to work with. And so if you're paying attention and you're saying, okay, my my operating expenses are actually higher than what I'm currently dedicating, or it's actually lower, you're able to make adjustments. And the principle behind the small plate is when less money is available to run your business, you will find ways to get the same or better results with less. By taking your profit first, you will be forced to think smarter and innovate more. Every single time I've ever had a client print out a statement or look at their expenses, we have always found ways that we can cut expenses. Every single time. And every percentage point matters. There are no, oh, well, it's just $100 here, $100 there. That all adds up. And so if we're dedicating certain percentages into these accounts, it's going to cause us, it's going to force us to be creative. We can no longer just ignore things or say like, oh, just $100 here. We're going to have to pay attention. We're going to have to be smarter with our money, and we're always going to make it work. I think about this when it gets to be Friday and my groceries are running out and I'm getting ready to make dinner. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to somehow find a way to create something out of what I have. And normally it turns out pretty dang good. I'm usually pretty impressed with myself. And so the same principle here is if you get to have your money, you're going to be amazed about what you can do with those percentages.
Yeah, one side note on that, I was like, I'm due. I have to budge in here quickly.
Go for it, Rudy.
One side note on that is being small plates principle doesn't just mean to cut expenses as well. You know, innovating and being creative doesn't mean to always reduce your expenses. You know, there's the innovation. What does that mean? Well, finding ways to run things more efficiently with what you have, and finding ways to increase revenue and so forth. And there's a lot more. Well, increased revenue while actually increasing profits as well, because it's not about that top line, it's about that bottom line at the end of the day. But
And Rudy, there's a slide coming up here that I think you're going to get excited about because we
well,
talk
why
about
don't
some
you
of those
put the
things.
bullet points and I'll cover this slide.
Perfect. I'll let
Just
you know.
kidding.
I'll let you know when it's your turn.
But keep it going. This is amazing. Wake up, everybody! If you're not listening, please. That's what we need. No, I'm just,
I appreciate that, Rudy. Let's stay paying attention. Let's stay involved in this. Now, this is my last slide. That's kind of for the basics of profit first. Then we're going to get into kind of the nuances of it. But a lot of you here, I don't think you're running profit first yet, and so you might be asking, where the heck do I start? So the first thing here is send your coach a 12-month rolling profit and loss statement. What a rolling profit and loss statement stands for is it just means 12 consecutive months. So it's not like you have to give us all of 2022. You could just give us the past 12 months. If you can't create that, if you don't have 12 months, give us what you can. Give us 6 months, give us 3 months. The more data that we have, the better. But the most important thing is the data is accurate. So if you just started paying attention to your bookkeeping and accounting 6 months ago, then give us the 6-month one. Don't give us the 12-month that's going to be all wonky. Because our recommendations and percentages will only be as accurate as your bookkeeping is. And I've said it before, and I will say it again, there's no better investment you can make for your company than having an accurate and good bookkeeper. If you don't know your numbers, nothing else matters. And so if that's something that we need to solve together, get with your coach. Let's solve that first. But that's your first step, is to send your coach a 12-month rolling profit and loss statement. If you can't do 12 months, give us what you can. The next step is opening up your profit first accounts. Now, this is typically where we get a little pushback. Why is that? Nobody likes going, never fun. People are normally not happy. It's not usually a fun experience, and you always spend way more time there than you think you're gonna. Thankfully, a lot can be done online or over the phone these days, and so definitely take advantage of that if you have a bank that will let you. But with opening accounts, there are ways to do it without having a ton of fees or a ton of minimums. A lot of banks are becoming very familiar with Profit First. And so if you just explain to the bank what it is that you are doing, it's kind of the ask and you shall receive principle here. You are more than likely going to be able to make it work, and you're not going to have a ton of fees or minimums. I think I've only had 2 clients in my 5 years here at Redmond Growth who have had to move banks because they were unwilling to get rid of fees. And so your bank is going to be able to work with you. Now, the amount of accounts that you're going to need is dependent upon your coach's recommendations. And as you you're going to end up having more accounts. We're going to get into kind of the nitty gritty of that later, but it is okay to start small. You might be like, Nicole, right now I'm implementing a lot. I just started Redmond Growth, and we're doing a butt ton of things. We've got, reviews going, and we've got home safety inspections, tracking, and a website we're building. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed. It's okay to start small. Open up one account that's specifically for profit. And even if you're dedicating 1% of every piece of revenue that comes in, you're moving that into the profit account, that's going to put you heads and tails from where you were. And so it's okay to start small, even if you're just starting with that one account and you're dedicating some profit into it. That is okay. That is moving in the right direction. Now, then you want to make your first very conservative distributions and track them along with what your actual expenses are. So what that means is that what we see on paper is not always extremely reflective of what your day-to-day looks like. Has anybody here ever been in the position where they're like, well, on paper, it looks like I'm profitable, but man, like my day-to-day, I feel like I'm just scraping, like I just don't have enough money in there. Has anybody ever felt that way? On paper, you're profitable, but then on the day-to-day, it just doesn't feel like that. I know that's a common thing for a lot of our clients.
I hear a lot of people say that to me well, maybe not every day, but very often. That's the number one thing. When I want to get someone into a profit first, I say, how many times do you see, hey, it says I'm very profitable on paper, but where's the cash money? Everybody says, yes, Jonathan, I want this.
Show
Every
me the
time.
money.
Exactly. Show me the money.
Yes. So
Sorry, that was a
first,
little much. But
no, I love it. When you first start Profit First, those first percentages that we start you off with are going to be pretty conservative. We might only be dedicating 1% of your real revenue to profit. We might be dedicating the bulk of it, let's say like 70 or 80% to cost of goods sold or to overhead, even though we might be wanting to get that down to 30. You know, we're going to be starting with pretty comfortable percentages. And then you got to track what your costs actually are on a week by week basis, because that's what's going to allow us as your coach to be able to say, okay, we're dedicating 70% to overhead, but actually looks like the past 4 weeks, you've only been spending 60 of that. That's 10 percentage points that we could move towards profit or tax or what you're paying yourself. And so Profit First is, again, it's not a set it and forget it type of thing. It's something that you have to be actively involved in, actively tracking. And then this is just with anything you implement with us, or I feel like in life in general, it is this process of defining the problem, acting upon it, measuring the results, and refining the system. And so that's what this is going to be. We've defined the problem. We have bad cash flow. We have bad profitability. So we're acting upon it. We're implementing Profit First. We're starting with these accounts. We're starting with these percentages. We're going to measure the results. We're going to actively be tracking it. And then we're going to refine our accounts. We're going to refine the process. We're going to refine our percentages based on the data that we're seeing. This is a principle if you're to apply with everything, with your sales process, with your customer service, with your pricing. It's the act of define, act, measure, refine. That is a forever going process. Now we're gonna get kind of into the nitty gritty here. For those of you who are implementing Profit First, you might be saying, what if I'm doing Profit First and I'm still not overly profitable? I'm not feeling very comfy. Just not feeling super great yet. And so let's talk about what that might look like. So the first thing that we would recommend doing is analyzing which services or products yield the most profit and focusing on those. We have clients that come to us doing strictly commercial. We have some clients who come to us wanting to do strictly commercial. We have nothing wrong. We have no beef with commercial jobs. Other than sometimes commercial can be bad for cash flow. Sometimes you can be stuck in a net 14 or net 30 or wait until the end of the job to get paid. And we'd really recommend not doing that, but that's a whole nother group. And so maybe it's adding a residential branch so that you are consistently getting paid so that you do have that healthy cash flow. Maybe it's, you know, Nicole, there's certain jobs that just like, they're usually a pain in the butt and they take a long time and they're just not very profitable. We would make a lot more money if we just focused on service work and stopped doing these repipes or whatever it is. You want to focus your activities on what's going to be the most fruitful for you and cutting out any that are not profitable. One thing that is just a knife in my heart is when I hear a client say, oh, I just took this job so we had work on the board. I'm not going to make any profit on it, or I'll be lucky if I break even. Just, oh, no, we cannot do that anymore. That is buying into this myth. That's buying into this cycle. And so we can sacrificing profit just to land a job. I even see this with clients where they'll see this like really big job. We're like, Nicole, this is like a $250,000 job. This would be 4 months of work. But is it profitable? Let's not get so distracted by these big numbers, these big revenue numbers, that we forget about profit. Because what's the freaking point of doing that much revenue if you have nothing to show for it at the end of the day, other than a ton of time wasted and headaches? We can't be sacrificing profit just to land a job. And then we have a whole group
Can I
call
say
about,
something?
yes, please.
Oh, yeah. I've got 3 employees, and we've been through some periods where I needed to take jobs for less just to kind of keep them going. They're family guys. What happens when, I mean, I can't turn down that work because I just need to keep my guys busy sometimes if we're hitting a low spot. So I just wanted to,
Yeah.
and I'm sure everybody's probably experienced that at
Oh,
one time
yeah.
or another.
Oh yeah, I mean, we primarily work with contractors, and especially like HVAC. HVAC can be so freaking seasonal, especially when I have guys in like Minnesota, and so definitely feel you there. A lot of my clients that do have maybe a slow season or are in a seasonal business, they actually have a slow season account. And so they're seeding money into that account throughout the rest of the year so that when that slow season hits, if they're needing to do some payroll, if they just don't have a ton of work that week, they're still able to make payroll. They're comfortable. They've got money set aside for that specifically. Because the thing that we don't want is we never want you to have to lower your value. And that's ultimately what your pricing is. Your pricing is the value that you're providing. And so I don't want you to ever have to feel like you're cheapening yourself, just to keep the guys busy, because we want to prioritize that. We never just, oh, not going to pay you this week, we're not working. That's not what we want to do either. And so there's a few different options that we can look at to solve that, but that would be one that I would definitely think about.
I think a good way to look at it is sometimes we look at that as if well, if the real dynamic, if the real decision here is either keep my guys busy and pay them or nothing, if that's the real choice, if that really is A or B, well then of course go with A. But I think the question is, well, let's take a second look at this. Let's really consider our options. Let's not go with A so quickly, assuming it's just an A or B.
Yeah.
I think that's
not
really
making
the
it your
main thing.
default. Not making it your default to do that. And I think sometimes people can get in the habit of it. We also have a whole group call about knowing your value and pricing. And so that would be a good group call to listen to. And then we have another group call. I think we have groups just about anything and everything. But we have a group call about cash flow power moves. And we have another group call about the difference in between cash flow issues and profitability issues. Because a lot of times it's not that you have profitability issues, it's that you have cash flow issues. And these right here are the main culprits, typically. The main culprits are not having a draw schedule, not getting deposits, not charging for change orders, even not just simply not collecting payment at the end of service, those types of things. And so if we have a client that has cash flow issues, those are definitely the first things that we look into. Sometimes it's a combination of a couple of different things. And even sometimes it's simply just needing to raise prices. We're never going to, this model is never going to work. We're never going to, unless our prices are accurate. So what we want to look into too. And then lastly, this is rare that I ever see this, but it's something worth speaking to. Challenge your current business model by defining your key performance indicators and seeing if they are realistic. This is kind of, I see this often with businesses that are a little bit nuanced, like power washers or window cleaners. Or businesses that want to do one specific service, like we just want to do tankless water heaters, or we just want to do sliding glass doors or something like that. But you want to know your key performance indicators. How many leads, how many appointments, how many jobs am I going to have to do in a week? And what do I need my current average ticket to be in order to hit my revenue goal? If you don't know your KPIs, please, your coach, we will help define that But if you're running profit first and you're still not profitable, that could be something we need to look into. Like, is this not realistic? Are we going to have to fix our closing ratio? Are we going to have to raise our prices or our average tickets in order to make this work? And so I feel like this quote, all these quotes actually are Mike McCallowic's. He has a lot of books, a very wise man. But a financially healthy company is a result of a series of small daily financial wins, not one big moment. You're not going to implement profit first and it's immediately going to solve all of your problems. In fact, it's probably going to create a lot more because we're actually going to know what the problems are. And then we're going to be able to solve them. This kind of goes back to Rob's win, of, hey, I'm only 4 weeks in, but I'm seeing a lot of progress. I'm implementing something new. I'm seeing that 1%. That's what Profit First is going to do for you. It's not going to change it in a day, but it's going to allow you to just slowly say, okay, this needs fixed. I need to pay attention to this. I need to adjust this. And before you know it, you are going to know your numbers and your business is going to be as financially healthy as it's ever been. And so it's just daily financial wins, not one big moment. Now, the nuances and enhancements, maybe you're implementing Profit First and you're wondering, hey, I've been doing it for a while. What else can I do? Profit First is absolutely meaningless if we are not consistently analyzing our percentages and using that information the data gives us. If you are just filling out your profit spreadsheet and saying, here it is, we're defeating the purpose. We want to look at those percentages in that data and we want to say what is working well and what needs improved. And so you want to be constantly analyzing that. Have a time with your coach. Say, hey, it's the end of the month. Can we look at my profit first percentages real quick? Can you look at this with me? Yes, we'd love to. We'd love to do that with you. Another thing to keep in mind is as your revenue grows, your goal percentages are going to change. Your percentages are not set in stone. As you reach certain stages of your businesses, those percentages are going to change. And so that's something that we're going to need to be paying attention to and adjusting. Profit First is also extremely customizable. When you read the book, it can seem kind of rigid. It can seem like this is the way, hard and fast rules. And there are certain principles that have to be applied in order to really be running Profit First. But when it comes to your accounts, when it comes to these types of things here, I love this method. When in doubt, add an account. If you want to be pulled out of profit to pay for repairs on the trucks, then let's have an emergency fund account. Like Leaf's question, if you don't want to get into the slow season and happen to be taking jobs just to take them, have a slow season account. If you want to take the family on frickin' vacation, have a vacation account that you're putting money into. When in doubt, add an account. And then a question I get asked a lot is, when should I do distributions? You can do distributions as often as you want them to. You're probably going to at least have to do them twice a month just because you're probably doing payroll or bills twice a month. But when you do distributions, does not matter to us as long as it's convenient and it's consistent for you. So don't feel like you need to do them every day or every week, just consistently do them, have it scheduled. Another little nuance here is sometimes having owners pay, so that account that you're paying yourself out of. I have clients sometimes give me some pushback to that because maybe you pay yourself when you run payroll with all of your guys. That's okay. We don't have to have an owner's pay account. That's something that is totally customizable. We just need to be aware of it and we just need to adjust percentages. This is something to be mindful of. And then you're going to quickly, when you're reading Profit First, you're going to see that they want you to open bank accounts at other banks. I think I have one client that's actually ever done that. And that is okay. You don't have to do that. In fact, I find it a little unnecessary. And so you don't have to do it. You can have
Whoa,
them all in one
hey,
bank.
now I'm like freaking out here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean,
Now,
don't let
helpful?
different accounts at different banks stop you from implementing Profit First. I think that's
Absolutely.
very important.
Absolutely. Now, do I personally have a account can access from my checking? Yes. Do I also have a savings account that literally takes over a week to transfer money from and I have no checks to it? Absolutely. And so there is something to that principle, but don't let it stop you from opening up your accounts. Don't feel like you have to do that. So we're going to go to breakout rooms. I know that this was a lengthy talk that we covered a lot of information. And so if you have questions, if you don't get your questions answered in the breakout room, we have so many group calls about Profit First. Also, book a laser call with your coach. It's what we're here for. Reach out to us. But Bryce, I will let you put us all into our breakout rooms.